Did you spend your entire high school career eschewing fun and risk only to treat having your parents going away for a week as a chance to dump daddy's Porsche in Lake Michigan? Did said Porsche dump occur because a sex worker you were shacking up with accidentally nudged the car into neutral while you were all licking on ice cream cones stoned out of your gourd? Did trouble come a-knockin' on your parents' cloistered suburban door in the not especially intimidating frame of Guido the Killer Pimp, just when your parents were supposed to be arriving back home? If so, you may have just skidded across a foyer floor to Bob Seger in your tidy whities and into the Unkind Rewind, where we watched the 1983 Tom Cruise breakout hit, Risky Business.
Thrill me.
I'm gonna name you Kodum. You get a name too, Podum.
His name is Happy Harry Hardon. He's a total sex maniac. Of course.
Greetings from the North Star State, where I, Josh Dugan, have been poring over the dark realms of the internet, trying to find a replacement Steuben crystal egg for my materialistic mother. Welcome to the Unkind Rewind, where each week we put at risk and exploit the fond childhood memories of our guests, potentially ruining their childhood in the process. As ever, I am joined by my co-host, Sean McGrath. Sean, have you been strong-arming underclassmen into paying for sex to pay for the fish stench to get removed from your daddy's car?
One of the best body shops in Chicago, by the way, that can pull a completely submerged Porsche out of Lake Michigan and return it to pristine status. Check their reviews on Yelp. They really do back up their guarantees. Yeah, Josh, boy, I'm trying to strong arm as many of these, jocular high school students as I can. I am looking for a pair of Wayfarers, though, because I really feel like that is instrumental in any type of coercion.
Yeah.
Like
You've also got to have them if you're going to get into Princeton.
Yeah. Hell, I wasn't even admitted into the University of Illinois.
On the line this week, we are joined by the incomparable Scott Lucas. Scott, have you been carrying your weight in future enterprisers, or has Bronson Pinchot been pretty peeved at you?
He's been a little peeved, but we, our memo maker, we made a profit of about $14 on it, so it's a start.
Yeah, everything starts somewhere. Scott, why don't you tell the listeners who manhandled the school nurse and got suspended last week and missed your Q's and T's installment a little bit about yourself?
My name is Scott Lucas. I have known Josh for, I don't know how long I've known you. 15 years at least, somewhere in that range, maybe.
Yeah.
You used to work at the Crown Anchor, a bar I frequented at that time. Still go there once in a while. But to the extent that anybody knows me, it's mostly for baseball. I used to write for ESPN, and now I cover the Rangers minor league system. It's a free email. If you go to scottlucas.com, you can sign up if you're interested in that sort of thing. I've got a Twitter account that I honestly don't really use anymore, which is Scott R. Lucas. I've also got a Blue Sky account, which I'm using more. Same name. In real life, I'm a real estate appraiser who does a lot of weird work that usually involves contaminated properties or litigation and things like that. But through Josh, I know we've seen some movies together over the years. Probably, I know we saw one of the Pavement reunion shows.
Yep.
Stuff
a few
like that.
shows. I think we went to Drive-By Truckers.
Yeah.
But yeah, a handful of shows.
Right.
Baseball games too. Yeah.
Yes, that is true. And at some point, I can't remember exactly. I feel like not too long after you got married, that's when you moved. I can't remember the timeline exactly, but yeah, I'm still here. So,
how's Austin?
Been big, and it's not the city it used to be, but whatever, things change.
Yeah.
No, it's still cool. My only problem.
Is it booming, or is it kind of plateaued a little bit?
No, it's still booming. It's still growing a lot. Austin, weirdly enough, is one of the cities that actually built a ton of housing during the COVID epidemic, and before that, prices went crazy, and then the market actually lost as much value as just about anywhere in the country. But yeah, it's growing like crazy. I guess my only
The
problem
houses
is-
were needed.
Yes, very much
Yeah.
so.
Yeah.
Yes. But I guess the only issue is, this is going to sound kind of weird, but there is actually a non-zero chance I'll have to get off this call because the house across the street from mine that isn't lived in anymore has been broken into 3 nights out of the last 4 because the guy who lives there is a hoarder and just has a bunch of stuff. And so even though we got robbed, people have come back. So that's not very much fun.
Doesn't sound like it. No.
No. So
You're still
I
in the same place.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And
We
it's
won't.
actually really,
we won't
it's-
dox you.
Yes. No. It's actually a really nice neighborhood, and I like being here. And there's very
Yeah, I
little
like your
crime.
neighborhood.
So this is a little frustrating, but yeah, I was busy last. Sorry, go ahead.
Is it better to live across from kind of a hoarder who isn't there, or a high school kid running a brothel?
I guess I would pick the hoarder. I guess it would depend on whatever fringe benefits there were at the brothel.
Yeah,
Although
good
I am
point.
happily married, so that could be at least a little awkward. I guess in that respect, I would just want I'd want money to keep my mouth shut.
Yeah,
The kind
it did seem like he always had cold beers over there.
Yes, it was like Old Milwaukee and
Schlitz, yeah.
Blitz and stuff like that, and cigars.
A lot of cigars in this
But
movie.
yeah, at this point in my life, I just would be like, yeah, basically, I'd pay me to shut up.
Well,
That'd
yeah,
be-
I mean, you don't have to take advantage of the women of the night when there's a sweet train set downstairs.
yeah, that's true too.
I'd be down there.
Yeah. Last week I said that I'd seen this at least a few times in the past decade, including once or twice in the past year. Sean, what was your relationship to Risky Business?
Oh boy. Definitely kind of an adolescent watch. Maybe bits and pieces since then, but I was murky on a lot of the bigger details. I mean, outside of the kind of like iconic images
Right.
and scenes from this movie. Yeah, I've clipped around, here and there over the last year, but a full rewatch, I got to go back 30 years.
Yeah.
A full run through.
Yeah, I'm probably in the same boat.
Okay. So, getting right into the pre-interview. Scott, we asked you what you recalled the plot of Risky Business being. And you said...
Yeah, Tom Cruise is like a high school student. I think he's pretty close to graduating, and there's a lot of stuff about he's trying to get into the right college. He lives in a really wealthy neighborhood, but his parents go out of town for a week. He either decides to, or he's kind of like talked into having a prostitute come to his house while his parents are on vacation. And if I remember correctly, they end up totally ripping him off, taking a bunch of stuff out of his home. And a lot of the movie is him trying to get all that stuff back before his parents come into town and navigating that underworld. And also he's got a pretty big crush on Rebecca De Mornay, because who wouldn't? And also there's stuff about, I think at some point he has that's right, he has a party to raise money to, I think, buy all the stuff back from the people who ripped him off. And it turns out one of the college advisors who he's trying to get into shows up to interview him, and he has to navigate that. But to me, it's very, and we can get into it more when the actual movie is
Sure.
going on, but a lot of it is very culturally resonant. To me, it's like a perfect distillation of the Reagan era.
Sure.
For that particular time, it's a very modern movie. I'll have to see it to remember, but it feels like there's not like a hint of the 1970s in it.
Nice hedge on not deciding whether it was his idea or the in-home visit was foisted upon him. Later, you go on to say, oh, you do think that it wasn't his idea entirely.
Right.
Now, was it a surprise to you when the first sex worker showed up at the door? Or did you remember that before?
No, I remember that. I couldn't remember the specifics. But yeah, I knew there was a situation like that. Right. There is somebody there is named Jackie who his
It's
I don't
not
know
my wife.
How good of a right, yes. How good of a friend he is, but Miles basically finds an ad for this Jackie, and Jackie comes over. Jackie is a male crossdresser, not a woman. So he is Joel, that's the character in the movie. He is immediately put off by this and basically pays her to go away. He gets so frustrated that he can't even get himself off, and then out of frustration calls the number that Jackie gave to him of this girl named Lana, who Jackie says that's who basically all the rich white boys in the suburb want.
Right.
And she shows up. I guess as far as like how I described the plot, I feel like I more or less got it right.
Right.
I think what is interesting to me, I mean, a lot that I'd forgotten about is that obviously this movie is about adolescence, but this movie is just like, it is drowning in anxiety.
Yeah.
And insecurity and sexual awkwardness. It's just pervasive.
Yeah, I mean, he can't even get laid in his dreams.
Right, exactly. He can't. Right, he can't carry it out by himself. He can't even dream it properly. There's an opening scene that, frankly, I'd forgotten about, where the opening of the movie is like there's a girl in a shower and he's supposed to get into the shower with her, but it gets really cloudy. And then all of a sudden, he's in a classroom full of people taking their SATs, and he only has like 5 minutes left to do it. So the movie does, I think, a really good job of establishing how insecure and anxious you are at that time of your life. And even if you're in a situation where you're the horniest guy in the universe, that at that age, you might still not be able to go through with it.
Yeah. I thought it was weird how they implemented VO.
Very.
I would like to understand what the governing notion of what the voiceover, like where it's coming from, who he's talking to, because like you'd think that maybe it's him talking to Bill Rutherford from Princeton, but it's not that. So I don't know why he's telling us this dream. And then there are only 3 moments, if I remember correctly, where he's talking in VO. One is like, the exposition dump to say how Lana's setting everything up, and then it's at the beginning and end, and that's it. So
yeah, Josh, didn't it strike you a little bit in this movie like a production note? Like, we're gonna need to add some VO. Like, it's so weird how rare it comes up in this movie. Yeah. And also the very strange POV scene, right? Like, he has POV with, we get a little bit of in that shower fantasy that.
But at least that's a dream. That makes sense, But
then we have that whole series with his parents and dropping them off at the airport that is in first person point of view. Like, did they ever, did they die in a plane crash? Is Tom Cruise dead? Like, it's so weirdly, like, murky and ethereal, and
and all the sex scenes are like fantastical.
Right. Yeah, it's very right. The opening is very dreamlike, and then when he finally has sex for the first time, it's very dreamlike too. Because that's something that really caught my attention, and I think part of it is like that's just part of it is like that's how movies are filmed. Everybody's awkward, but then when they start having sex, magically they're great at it. Part of it,
yeah, and also like the presumption is like he's new to this, right?
yeah. A part of it is that he's with a sex worker, so she knows what she's doing. Maybe she's helping him along to be more confident. But also part of it is like maybe we're not watching what really happened. Maybe we're watching his dream interpretation of how that went. And that's not something that ever really occurred to me when I was watching it the first time.
I still don't know what to make of it.
Right. When I was 15, it was just like, oh yeah, Tom Cruise is having sex. Congratulations. Now it's like, what are we really looking at here? It's like, yeah, he had sex, but we're watching his probably watching his very generous interpretation of how it went.
I mean, when the wind blows the doors open and the
Right.
leaves start blowing in, I felt like I was suddenly watching the Japanese horror movie House.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I was like, what? This is such a weird tonal choice. I don't dislike it, but
No.
it was a choice.
It's almost like The Quiet Man, right? When Henry Thomas in E.T. is watching that scene with John Wayne and, you know, Margaret O'Hara or Margaret Sullivan. And, like...
Some Irish woman.
The doors, yeah.
Maureen O'Hara, I think.
Maureen O'Hara, perhaps. But, like, the windows are blowing in, the doors are blowing in. He has to kind of pull her... I think E.T. is actually watching it, and then Elliot is doing it in his classroom. But, like, there's such a high level of drama in that scene for somebody hiring their first sex worker to be that confident, to kind of walk across the room. Like, you know, especially
after Rebecca De Mornay does not show up until the 27th minute of the film. And the first 26 minutes are nothing but establishing how anxious and insecure he is. And then all of a sudden, pow.
Lets herself in.
Yeah, right. Just lets herself in.
Also dreamlike. Did it happen? We don't know.
Right. I mean, they clearly do have sex, but I don't think it's like that. But yeah, I feel like if it's my first time and the doors blow up and a bunch of leaves come into the living room, it might like throw me out of the mood for a minute.
He definitely owes her $300. And again, like it seems weird that like that wasn't like ready to go.
Yeah, well, especially because he paid $75 to Jackie, basically for nothing more for her time and nuisance. So that was a part that seemed kind of confusing. It's like obviously it's going to be a lot more.
Yeah. Also, like
Atlanta services because she stayed all night.
Jackie portrayed by, I would say, pretty popular character actor Bruce Young. Bruce Young's been on a lot of stuff over the years, over the decades. Really kind of nice visual when we first see Jackie. Just like so physically intimidating to anybody, let alone 5'8" Tom Cruise?
Right.
Officially 5'8".
Officially 5'8".
One confusing thing about this, I certainly when I saw the movie originally, I wasn't thinking about this, but it's confusing in that, I mean, Jackie is obviously in a niche market for people who want that kind of service.
Yeah.
But yet apparently he put his listing in just the standard, group of stuff.
I can see where there's coded language that Miles wouldn't be picking up on when he makes the call.
Well, I'm wondering if Miles set him up.
Sure, that could be it too.
I think that's more of like a bully move, right? Like Miles wants to get Joel laid. I don't think he's doing it as a, as a prank. I do align more with the thinking that he just didn't pick up
maybe
the BBW or whatever it was in Jackie's listing.
But
right?
On the other hand, Miles comes across to me as Miles has an interesting stature in the movie. He's obviously kind of a little bit of the alpha figure. He
does not talk, right? Like
no, he's very manipulative.
Is this because he's 28?
Yeah, he is. I mean, he does not talk like kind of the incel, nerdy comic relief. He's like this guide. It's a very strange relationship because he offers Joel advice so many different junctures at this throughout this movie. And then, of course, he can kind of also get cowed and fall back to his, kind of scaredy cat ways when...
Right, the scene when they're trying to get away from Guido. He folds immediately.
But it's not like he loses any of his stature after that with Joel. He's still able to kind of counsel Joel. Like, he's gone through all these things before.
But he's also telling Joel, it's like, hey, I don't have to pay for this.
Yeah. Right.
I was like, and at that point, if I'm Joel, it's sort of like, well, maybe fuck you. Maybe
I wonder how important it was for Curtis Armstrong and Bronson Pinchot to be short as well in this movie.
But Miles comes across to me as so untrustworthy. I mean, there's a scene in the middle of the movie where they go get ice cream and get high. I mean, Cruise's character does not do that with Miles. He does that with Bronson's character, who is ultimately a better friend and much more trustworthy.
I mean, he's a genius inventor of a memo.
Yes, the memo
machine.
miner.
Yeah. So
even for 1982, that is just such sad technology.
And it looked like he was like
that was their company's name, Sad Tech.
Yeah.
Could you imagine just that noise for hours before somebody realizes that it's that's a memo must be read? It did feel like he was, playing wingman, or at least forging a little bit of a friendship with the other prostitute throughout a lot of those scenes.
Yeah.
You're talking about Bronson Pinchot here?
Yeah. His character in that movie has a bright future, I think. He's going to be fine. Well,
he's going to work at the Chicago Tribune with his cousin Larry, right?
Oh, I forgot about that part. Is that what he said? Or is this something? This is this bit that I'm missing.
Perfect Strangers.
Wait, you're yes. Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
Slow. I was like, I don't remember that part.
Most people aren't going to get that who listen to this. So.
Yeah. No, it took me a minute.
So it seems like your mind filled in the blanks and maybe combined the taking of everything in the home with a crystal egg first.
Yeah, I remember.
Were you ever starting to question your memory at all?
Not really question my memory. I just, like I say, when we talked about it, what I described was extremely action and plot heavy. I had kind of glossed over kind of the themes of the movie and just the emotional impact it had. And like I say, I feel like the movie did a really good job of conveying the kind of anxieties you have at that age. The other thing and part of the reason why I missed that, I think, hold on, I have a door open. I have to go shut this real quick.
Okay.
I'm sorry, you might have to cut this part. I have a cat who, whenever I shut the door, wants to get in, and then when I shut the door, she wants to get out. So whatever, I might have to get up again. Anyway, sorry about that.
It's all good.
Because the movie stars Tom Cruise, basically one of the biggest actors of the last 40-something years.
Yep.
And he's such a larger than life character. And in a lot of these movies, he's playing these brash, hyper confident alpha male type characters. And so I think what had happened to me over the years is that it's like, well, okay, yeah, Tom Cruise is playing this character, but really he's kind of above it all. He's going to be aloof. Everything's going to be fine. There's not going to be any real tension. And it actually wasn't that way at all.
No.
He was 21 when they filmed this, I think. And they give him...
21 when it was released, 20 when they were shooting.
Okay, right. And he doesn't quite look like a high schooler, but they give him the kind of haircut that every white suburban kid in the early 80s had, me included. And a lot of times in the movie, he speaks in maybe a little bit higher pitched voice, and he comes across as a little meek. And so he really genuinely does sell it as far as just, being kind of an ordinary kid. So I was really happy with that because my memory of that had changed quite a bit.
Did you guys see that they had made Tom Cruise work out to lose muscle mass? Because he was kind of ripped when he shot Outsiders. So they
Yeah.
made him lose like 10 pounds and then eat like really fatty food to put
Right.
baby fat
So he
back
had
on
like
his
a little
face.
bit more of a baby face. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I, it just because this was such a star-making role for him, I kind of had it in my head, Tom Cruise the big star, but no, he's actually just kind of he does a really good job of being a kid. But I will
Yeah.
say, the parents leave, and then there's the scene where they're doing old-time rock and roll, and he's dancing around in the shirt. It's like, not his character, but Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise goes from being an ordinary actor to a megastar in the span of like 30 seconds.
Yes.
It's just an iconic moment.
That scene came so much earlier than I expected it to come. Like, I think in my mind, it was like, oh, he gets laid. And like, that's kind of his very cliche, I'm feeling good about getting laid kind of exuberance, bursting forward, the joie de vivre of being a young man, in springtime, so to speak. But like, it's like the 15-minute mark, and all it really is like the freedom of his parents being gone.
Yeah.
He gets to play with his dad's stereo.
If they were your parents, I think you'd be fucking dancing if they left.
Yeah.
He makes a scotch and soda that's about 90% scotch.
Oh my god, that Chivas Regal pour.
And
like,
a frozen dinner that he forgot to cook.
It almost seems like he didn't even forget, right? Like, it seems like he just didn't understand. Because if you forgot, you would,
you turn around, throw it in the oven. Yeah.
Yeah, you turn around and you walk right back to Chef Mike and pop it in for 60 seconds. But
did he eat it all this week? Do we ever see him eat actual food?
He eats a lot of junk food.
Lana cooks him breakfast the next morning.
Oh, that's right.
Lana cooks him breakfast, and also he like has a scene where he's watching like a TV or something in the kitchen, and he's got like 3 or 4 different chip bags open. Which again, as we talk about on this podcast a lot, parents leaving town was the impetus for drama in a movie like 87% of the time.
In a teen movie, yeah.
In a teen movie, parents would just leave. I didn't understand this. This didn't happen to me.
I kept waiting for my parents to leave for like a month, and they never would.
Yes.
See, my parents would leave in high school. A funny thing is going back and like looking on Reddit and reading reviews of this movie from people who are much younger. And some of them are kind of lost. They're like, how is this possibly happening? Why are the parents just leaving town when this guy's still in high school? It's like, this doesn't happen. It's like, actually, it kind of did.
Uh-huh. If boomers didn't care.
Yeah, my parents would do that. As soon as they felt like I was old enough to be in the house by myself. There was one time I was a senior in high school, and yeah, my parents went out of town for a week, and so of course.
So you ran a cat house out of the.
No, but I had a girlfriend, and
yeah, sure. And she went out of town for a week.
Yeah, something like that. But yeah, I mean, genuinely, there were a couple of. She was kind of on the outs with her parents, and she had a friend who she would spend the night with, even though she was a junior in high school. And so for that week, she stayed at my place.
Stayed at that friend's house?
Yeah.
According to the story.
Yeah.
I do want to get back to something Scott was talking about with Cruise, though. Did you see that? You feel that he kind of does embody a naive, nervous high school kid in this, but were there any moments where you're like, where you saw, a particular scene that showed off him as a good actor, or something beyond just dancing in his underwear that you were like, okay, here's what producers saw, where they were like, because 3 years after this, right? He's in Top Gun.
I was really hoping you were in 2 years in Legend, but
well, 2 years after this movie comes out, he is in production for Top Gun.
Yes.
Right. So obviously that becomes one of the seminal biggest movies of the decade. What do you think beyond, Dancing in His Underwear, Scott? What do you think that Hollywood saw, and when did they see it in this movie?
Well, it's like I said, most of the movie, he comes across as being not meek, but just an ordinary kid. The one part of the movie where it really switches, and honestly, I think tonally it's kind of a weird shift, is when they're going to be doing the house as brothel for a night, and he's going out and recruiting his peers to come over. And instead of the side parted cut, he's got his hair parted down the middle, and he's got I think it's a black shirt and like a gray blazer,
Yeah.
and he's smoking cigarettes, and he is just it. And it's not fake it till you make it confidence. He is just radiating confidence in all these where he's going up to strangers and saying, "Come over to my house with $300 and get
Two
laid."
guys who would be jerking it to the Jane Fonda workout video
right.
with
Yes.
Yeah.
And for me, it was a little weird how he suddenly acquired that much confidence that quickly, because not long after that, when the guy from Princeton who's going to interview him, all of a sudden he's back in his previous mode where
Yeah.
he's not very confident. And admittedly, when he thinks the interview is shot, he pulls out a cigarette and says, "Sometimes you got to say what the fuck," but that's kind of a fake bravado type moment.
Right.
But in terms of
because he goes down and he's playing with the train after that.
yeah, but in terms of what Sean was talking about, that's kind of the move. That is a moment where he kind of like jumps out of the screen in terms of how he's able to operate. The other movies I thought of, it was after Top Gun, but like The Color of Money, where he's just super hyper cocky, brash, alpha male, the whole thing. And this is later, but like a movie like Magnolia,
Well, Cocktail, he's the same way.
Yeah, Cocktail's the same way. And I guess I had internalized all those kind of characters that he was playing, and so I thought I was going to see a subdued version of that in Risky Business, but no, they sold him as an ordinary kid.
So I guess we may as well talk about Tom Cruise, like where he was at this point in time. So he has his first role is a very minor, like blink and you'll miss it supporting role in Zeffirelli's Endless Love, which starred Brooke Shields and shot in the fall of 1980. Really fucking bad. It premiered in July of 81. He was fifth billed in Taps, which shot in January of 81 after having production delayed due to the 1980 SAG strike. It had a December of 81 release, and Cruise got bumped up from a background role after impressing director Harold Becker in one of the like larger cadet scenes. So then Francis Ford Coppola's adaptation of S.E. Hinton's novel The Outsider shot in Tulsa in the spring of 82. So that was the next thing he did after Taps. And Cruise was seventh billed in the ensemble, which is just a cast full of future stars. That had a March 83 release and was a modest hit. This shot in the summer of 82, right after he shot The Outsiders. Somewhere probably at the back end of 82, he shot Curtis Hanson's very bad ensemble period teen sex romp, starring opposite Jackie Earle Haley, John Stockwell, and Shelley Long. That bombed in April of 83, but it was the first film release where Cruise was technically top billed, though that probably owed to alphabetical order more than anything. Then All the Right Moves shot in the early spring of 83. Risky Business had its release in August of 83 and was a huge hit, kind of brushing away the stench of losing it. Losing It was that Curtis Hanson sex romp, by the way. I left the name out. And then, Risky Business was a huge hit. And then All the Right Moves hit the box office in October of 83 and was the second Cruise star vehicle of the second half of the year. Wasn't as big a hit as Risky Business, but it made 3 times its budget at the box office. So now, were you at all surprised by how little actual navigation Joel did with regards to his handling Bill Rutherford, the Princeton guy, when he arrived at the house?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's clear that Joel is not qualified to get into Princeton.
Sure.
I mean, he had like a 3.1 GPA. His SAT was like 1080
Made
or
up, but
something like that.
it was
And
597 and a 560, but you can't get a
okay,
597.
a little. And he said he's going to take it again. And he's got a few things on his resume like the
Future Enterprisers.
Future Enterprisers, but it just seems really weak. Although, didn't his dad go there? Is he a legacy?
Yeah, that's
There's
I
that,
assume why
but
he'd be able to
it's
get
still
in.
they still make it sound like that's not enough. He really he
Right.
genuinely
Well, yeah, and I don't think it is enough. I think that he's there as a courtesy to the alum,
Yeah,
his father,
I think
right?
that's right.
It's very strange as a script writing device to have this interview occur at 10:30 at night.
What the
Right.
fuck was this guy doing the rest
I mean,
of the night?
like I said, I never applied. I went to University of Texas. I never applied for a school like Princeton, but
Right.
the idea of like anybody coming over to my house to interview me for a college, it's like that. I don't remember.
I mean,
that
he is
just didn't
it
happen.
is the most courteous and generous of visits considering where Joel is.
Uh-huh.
It feels a little weird not to make him smarter or not to make him like more college bound.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think
And-
they want him to be the sort of like everyman stand-in for like there's a reason he's not getting laid. There's a reason he can't even get laid in his dreams. I think he is supposed to be this everyman. Obviously, he's got a movie star smile and his head fits right on the screen, but like he is supposed to be that everyman teenager.
And one thing I thought was interesting, obviously he's in a very wealthy household, yet at the same time he himself is perpetually broke.
Yeah.
He's not a trust fund kid. He's not sitting there thinking he's going to coast through life. To his credit, his parents in the movie, maybe they could have pushed him a little harder, got that GPA up, but basically he's expected to put in the work and get by on his own.
And he'll do that at the University of Illinois.
Yes.
Yeah, and if the GPA isn't up, go out and get a high school job. Like it's a popular way to make money.
Right.
Like
yes. The one
I
other
liked.
thing about I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, nothing. Yeah, it was just there's this throwaway line that I really like that his mom has where she says, "Honey, did you pack my mace?" And I think it does like a really good job of kind of, speaking to the suburban aversion to the big city in a funny way. Like even going to the airport, it's like, oh God, I've got to have my mace to go to O'Hare.
One thing is the actors playing the parents were in their late 40s. I'm older than them now, which kind of makes me a little sad, but
they're a lot older than you now too.
Well,
though.
that is true.
Yeah.
But you think of them as like, they're the dowdy old parents and stuff. And it's like, oh my God. But actually, you know what? The parents are pretty cool.
His dad wouldn't have been wearing a proto-martyr shirt, Scott.
Well, there is that. But no, his parents are actually pretty chill. I feel like
his dad's pretty pissed about the Equalizer.
Yeah, but I feel like overall they had a pretty decent relationship. They weren't like they were petty about some stuff, but they weren't jerks.
I mean, look, if there was a crack in your glass egg at the end of a week, you'd be a little bit upset.
Sure, I'd be furious at my daughter if something like that happened, but I don't.
It is weird, like
of your many your many crystal eggs that you have on the counter or on the mantle rather.
Right.
Is there a falling out between Miles and Joel in this movie that I missed?
I don't think so.
No.
Because it just would seem so obvious that Miles is there at the end to help put the house back in order. That's an all hands on deck. If you're my friend, I need you now.
Is he not in that scene?
He's not in that scene.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's kind of what I was getting back to. I couldn't remember, but that's kind of what I was getting to earlier. When Joel needs people he can trust, Miles is not part of that.
I mean, I'm guessing he was just unavailable to shoot that day, but
maybe. But I mean, like I say, with the stuff about when he
pre-production
with ice cream, he's got I forget what Bronson Pinchot's character's name is in the movie now, but. Miles is a friend, but in a
Bronson
kind
Pinchot,
a
of course,
little
was
bit-
Barry.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Most generic name ever.
Curtis
But-
Armstrong had to fly to a screen test for Revenge of the Nerds.
But
Yeah.
Miles
Just like
is
Cruise had to fly in the middle of the night from the Outsiders set in Tulsa to make it for a 5 a.m. fucking tape at the house of the producer of this. To like he was on a flight at night, woke up at the producer's house 5 a.m., flew back to Tulsa for a fucking night shoot.
Man.
That's how we ended up in this.
Soundtrack of this movie is fantastic.
Oh yeah, I love the
Tangerine
Tangerine
Dream.
Dream score.
It's very understated. It's electronic, but it's not like obtrusive. It's not like the Jan Hammer, Miami Vice, Beverly Hills Cop, jarring in your face thing. It's very subdued.
It does a lot of the
and
work,
and
too.
dreamlike.
Yeah.
And it's funny because just the previous, I think it was just a year earlier, there's the movie Thief, which is a great movie. James Caan it's Michael Mann, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
But that soundtrack is like extremely of its time. Whereas this one, it fits with the way the movie, the dreamlike quality of the movie very well.
For sure. I mean, I love Tangerine Dream. Like, no complaints here.
Yeah.
But yeah, great score. I know it plays with what comes later, but it's sort of strange to start with opening credit B-roll of Chicago as seen from the L with Tangerine Dream behind it. Like, because we're not really in Chicago for most of this movie. We're in the greater Chicago metro area, but
Glencoe, which I didn't even look up. I don't even know where that is.
Yeah, it's north. It's
okay. That makes sense.
North suburbs.
All right.
And they're actually shooting in Highland Park, and they are around the corner from Cameron's house.
Okay.
In Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Let's throw to the second clip. Here we've got you talking about how you related to Risky Business when it was a staple for you.
Yeah, probably the first time I've seen it. I might have seen it when I was... Okay, it came out in 1983, I think. So I would have been 15. 15 or 16, somewhere in that range. I was kind of an ordinary kid, but I sort of remember at the time there were certain elements of, like, his existence that,
parallel to
I looked up to. I mean, Cruise's character, if I remember correctly, wasn't necessarily cool. I mean, he might have gained some coolness as the movie went on, but at the same time, he was like, yeah, he lived in this magnificent house and it was his dad's car, but like I got to drive around some incredible car. And
he wasn't a poon hound.
Right. Now that I think about it, I think he's got some friend of his who kind of talked him into getting somebody. He was like a really nervous kid. So in that respect, I mean, credit to the movie for not making him, some sort of outside character.
Right.
But I mean, even though he was kind of like awkward stuff, there was like a coolness to that whole atmosphere where the movie was set. Even though, some of the people he's running into, you certainly wouldn't want to be doing that in real life.
So how do you think high schooler Scott would have handled the quagmire that Joel Goodson gets himself into?
Poorly. I mean, to get, some of the stuff is kind of crazy. I mean, we talked about the car. If you dunk your Porsche into Lake Michigan, you're not getting it fixed. It's still gonna smell like Lake Michigan. There's just there's just no way. But in terms of like being in some kind of crazy situation like that, no, it's just like I can't think of anything in my life that equated to that. But no, I don't. I would have been throwing up. Yeah.
I think, not only was it a good performance, but it felt the most relatable when that car does start slipping down the hill. It's actually a really good performance there by Cruise because you don't doubt for a second that this is his life, right?
Yeah,
this car going into this fucking lake is everything.
Yeah.
His hopes and dreams, and the fact that the keys are in the car, it's locked. I mean, there's not even a look back, right?
Well, she's left, right?
She's left.
She walked
and
away. Yeah. She walked
starts
away.
to slip. But like when he starts screaming, we don't get the reverse of her, seeing what's happened, right? Like she's disappeared into.
Yeah, we don't. There's from that whole time that starts until the car actually falls into the lake. I don't think we see it. There's
very much.
There's no shot of anybody else.
A woman of the night as she has disappeared into the
Well,
park
didn't they sort of have like okay, this is done?
Yeah, they got in a little bit of an argument.
Because she had pitched we should get my friends together with your friends, and he wasn't having any part of that, right?
Right.
Yeah. I mean, it's really the car going into the ocean or the lake is the impetus for, of course, their teaming up.
Yeah, their partnership.
Yes.
Their partnership. That car doesn't go into the lake. We don't have a movie, probably.
Yeah.
What's the worst thing you ever did at one of your parents' cars?
I don't know. I can't think of anything too. Oh wait, no, I take that back. Well, technically it was my car. Same girlfriend. I would like when my dorm roommate was out of town, I would drive up and grab my girlfriend and take her back to Austin with me. And then when the weekend was over, I would like drive her back up to Arlington and back. So I was driving, like 800 miles in a weekend for, well, you know why I was. But anyway, one time on the way back, the car threw a belt and overheated and died like outside of Waco. And I had nothing to do, and so I had to get on a payphone and call my parents. And my dad had to drive down and take me the way back to Austin. So yeah, not a high point in my life.
No.
Credit my father with not showing up and just strangling me and walking away. I don't think I would have blamed him in retrospect, but
you weren't originally asking me that question, were you, Josh?
No, I know the answer for you. I was in the car when it happened.
It was an 82 Olds Cutlass.
Okay.
Total piece of crap car.
I know that car.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I mean, I totaled one of my parents' cars on ice.
I got T-boned, but it didn't ruin it.
Yeah.
I also broke the windshield of a car trying to kill a mosquito from inside. Because you know how windshields are kind of designed to break from the inside, so mosquito was kind of bouncing around between the windshield and the dash, and I gave this like Bruce Lee palm strike, completely missed the mosquito. That thing laughed its ass off, probably. But as soon as I hit the windshield, it just spiderwebbed.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was an interesting 5 seconds of adolescence.
Yeah, we don't have to get into
No, we don't have to talk about.
Yeah.
No.
So like as far
as
my car, there's no getting out of it. There's no payoff. It was just my total and utter humiliation and disappointing my parents and having to rebuild trusts and all that. So
we'll save what happened in Kansas City for another podcast.
Right. Was the car and the suburban existence everything you'd remembered and built up in your memory, or were things different than you'd remembered?
Nah, it was pretty accurate.
That car is sweet.
There were similar. I grew up in Arlington, I grew up in not like the rich part of Arlington, but wealthier than average. I was probably like upper middle class, but the rich kids lived like 2 miles to the west of me. But in terms of like describing that culture and how people went around and acted, I think that's part of why I like the movie in the first place, was that it was relatable. The kids were, I don't know about like calling sex workers over to your house, but the
Probably
general,
happened.
yeah, sure. But in general, the stuff that was going on, it fit. It didn't seem like it was fantastical or anything.
Did your mom carry mace?
Not that I can recall.
Yeah, if my
Okay.
mom carried mace, she didn't tell us about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So for the next clip, we asked you what you thought appealed to young Scott about risky business. And throw to the clip here.
Well, I mean, some of it, when you're at that age, especially during the 80s and probably younger, the 70s too, it's always true. It's like you're watching movies that are like about your peers, people the same age as you, and getting into, well, not necessarily situations with prostitutes, but, getting into crazy adult type situations and how they handle it. And just the fact that it was mostly a comedy. I mean, it was just sort of like when you were that age, that was the kind of movie you went to go see.
Sure.
There were always plenty of them in the theaters, and some were terrible, and I probably thankfully forgot about them. And some of them became kind of cultural touchstones like this one.
Did you and your friends get into any grown-up situations where you were out of your depth as kids kicking around the Metroplex?
Oh, probably. There were times where, I mean, to be honest, at that point in life, basically, alcohol was pervasive. I had
Drinking age was still 18?
Drinking age was in my, when did it switch? I can't remember. Oh, that's right. It was still 18. I think I was either 16 or 17 when it hopped up to 19.
Okay.
No. I take it back. It was 19. And I think when I was 17, that's when it went to 21.
Okay.
So I got within like a year, and then I had to wait 2 more years. But honestly, at that time, it was pretty easy to get.
Right.
And I also had one of my best friends at the time. He had the house to himself. He was a year older than me, so he was a freshman in college at this particular time. But he had the house to himself. His father had some job in, I can't remember, a different state, and so he just had the house to himself. So it was just like I practically lived there.
Yeah.
So
Was it just a free-for-all there?
That was where everybody, that's where everybody hang out. And occasionally we would have parties, and then we'd make too much noise. People would call the cops. And I'd answer the door, and there's a cop there, and I got empties all over the house, and of course we're all underaged, and have to like kind of talk our way out of it, that sort of thing. And whatever. I never got arrested. It all worked out. It was just sort of like, it was dumb, but that's what you did at the time.
Yeah, kids being kid shit.
Yeah. So, yeah.
So you hit on risky business being mostly a comedy. How did the tone of the film strike you now?
Well, like I say, the pervasive anxiety of it is something I'd forgotten, which I think is good. Something else I thought of, I think there's elements of it as a satire of capitalism.
Yeah.
There's things where there's an early scene where Joel's like, "What, do y'all just want to make money?" And they're like, "Fuck yeah, we just want to make money." And he's like, half jokingly, like, "Oh, I just want to help my fellow man," and they throw French fries at him.
Yeah.
So, and there's some stuff about where he kind of has some misgivings about, in addition to, the problems of operating your parents' house as a brothel, the whole, is there more to life than just trying to make money and materialism and pleasure and things like that. But it's there. I don't think it lands very heavily, because I mean, there's some stuff about like hamster wheel, throughout the movie. He gets in these situations and he needs more money, and it's never enough, and you're always having to deal with the next problem, and you're never satisfied. But at the same time, the movie ends on a good tone.
Only kind of, though. Like
Yeah.
he's not like rolling in it. He just lost all the money he did make.
Right. There is that.
So it's sort of like it sort of got Rockford Files vibes, where Jim Rockford never gets paid, or the his client was like, using him as a patsy or something. Like, there's no getting ahead for Joel in this film.
Yeah,
Even
but,
when you
well,
think he's ahead, the goddamn egg is cracked,
yeah.
and he's gonna get screwed there too.
But as in the theatrical release of the movie, as the movie ends, he's kind of joking around with Lana's character, and they're still marginally together. At least they're at
Yeah.
least at the very least, it's a friends with benefits situation until he goes off to college. He had to give it all away, but he made a bunch of money for a while. He gets into Princeton. He gets away with it.
Yeah.
So in that respect, to the extent that there's satire in there, I don't know about it. I don't know if it lands, but that's also something when I was watching the movie when I was 15, I honestly wasn't thinking about at all.
It's a
Right.
much sadder future for Lana,
Yes.
right? She's not going off to Princeton.
No, and something I didn't really appreciate at the time, but definitely rewatching it too. I think this is the other big thing, other than the anxiousness and insecurity of the movie, is how truly at heart transactional their relationship is.
Yeah.
There's no way in the world. There's a lot of talk about are you my girlfriend and stuff like that, but obviously they might as well be coming from different planets. He's going to end up marrying a woman who comes from a wealthy family like him. She's going to, even if she escapes Guido the pimp, her life
And her
is going to be
stepdad.
something similar to what's going on now. It's probably not going to turn out well. Another thing I thought about was obviously she rips him off earlier in the movie. And I think when I was 15 or 16 and watching it, towards the latter half of the movie, it's like, oh, okay, now it's good. They're a team, and they're not really going to be together, but there's a little bit of that going on. But now that I watch it, it's like, well, is she really in on this heist the whole time? It comes across as much more transactional than when I was watching it as an adolescent.
Whether or not she's in on that heist, is like the top spinning in Inception or something like that, right? I'm sure like there's a lot of different takes, but it's the connection that I saw watching this that kind of makes me feel like she was part of it was Guido being at Lana's when he has the negotiating call with Joel.
Yeah.
Like, he knows Joel's number. He can get it from either of those two. Obviously, Daphne or whatever the other names, the other prostitute that is kind of...
Is it Vicky?
Vicky,
yeah. Vicky.
I mean, she seems really much like in cahoots with Guido. But like,
I mean, she's in the truck handing him his shit, so she's definitely in cahoots with Guido.
But there's no reason really for Guido to be there.
Well, except for to put Joel in his place, which I think is...
No, I mean to be at Lana's apartment.
Oh, right, yes, 100%.
Yeah.
He can call Joel at any time and say, hey, you want your stuff back? But yeah, it does, and again,
well,
like
I think... doesn't she say that Guido can lock her out of her apartment? So I think Guido's actually paying for the apartment.
Sure, but we don't see Lana anywhere in those scenes, right? Like she has...
No, that would make sense.
I just think, there is sort of this weird cynicism with this movie. And you can look at the end scene and how they're kind of like walking somewhat aimlessly through, is it Highland Park or something like that? It's kind of a nice part of Chicago.
Yeah.
But we never really get that scene, which I kind of was anticipating, where Joel like really tells Lana how he feels about her. Like, it's kind of like, are you my girlfriend or whatnot? But like, is there a moment where either of you guys feel like Joel told Lana that he liked her or was in love with her or anything else to kind of show like, hey, he's really into her? No, he has like a fantasy.
Well,
right?
there is the VO that I think says a lot, where he says, it was great the way her mind worked. No guilt, no doubts, no fear. None of my specialties. Just the shameless pursuit of immediate material gratification. What a capitalist. I think that maybe is within the language of, the Reagan era is saying that he loves her. But
Yeah, it does not sound
Yeah.
like a hopeless romantic right there, right? That sounds like
no, that's a
Well, to the extent that it's a relationship with her, again, I think it's more of a function of his insecurities. There's a time when he gets home from school and his friend is over, and Lana's in the house, and Joel gets insanely jealous.
yeah.
And he's like, did you do something with her? Are you talking to her? And he gets in that state about, this isn't a girlfriend, or this isn't
Right.
even
This
a
is
date.
someone
This
who
is
you
somebody
paid
he
last
paid
night
to have
for
sex
sex.
with, and
Yeah.
yet he's insanely jealous of his friend being alone with her for a few minutes. And I think at the end of the movie, when he asked her, was this a setup the whole time? I feel like to some extent he's coming to realize that this is kind of transactional for him too. It's just
Yeah.
he didn't really realize it. One thing, I had no idea this existed until a few days ago, that there's an alternate ending. Had no idea.
Yeah, I
No
watched
clue.
it too. Brickman was fucking seething. He wanted he wanted the other ending, which is like more melancholy.
It's a lot darker. And
Yeah.
what
it's
is
a
the
lot
original
darker.
ending?
It's so they're in the restaurant, the nice restaurant, talking, and Joel is doing the thing where he's like, was this a setup the whole time? And she kind of equivocates, but then she says something. They're talking about it, and they're basically talking like, all right, their time together is basically going to be at an end. He's going to go on and do his thing.
Yeah.
She's going to basically have to go back to her existence, and she says something to the effect of like, why does it have to be so tough? And he says, come here, and she stands next to him, and he's like, no, sit down, and she just like sits in his lap, and he hugs her, and then that's when the VO
Yeah.
starts, except that some of the phrasing is a little bit different, and he says something to the effect of, instead of time of your life, he's like, ain't life grand? And he says it in kind of a mocking, self-mocking tone, and
Right.
then
Right.
roll
Where like it
credits.
being satirical is
Right.
a lot clearer. Yeah.
Yeah. And so it's a much more despondent ending that really, to me, it kind of changes the whole movie. And I
Which is
get
why Brickman was pissed and
right. I get
yeah.
why he was so pissed about it not being in there. On the other hand, if I'm bankrolling the movie, I kind of get why you want it changed.
I don't really, it's weird because it doesn't end with, puppies and rainbows as well. Like it's more ambiguous. It has this kind of high crane shot. They're walking into the darkness, and then the movie just kind of ends, right?
Yeah.
It ends with her not wearing a bra, very emphatically. But
That's somewhat frequent in the film.
yeah, but like I think it would have.
I'm
been
not
better.
complaining.
No, nobody's complaining.
See, I'm sorry
about
to
that.
interrupt you really quick. Part of it for me, the problem is when I'm watching it as 16-year-old or whatever, I'm so enamored with her that I'm not really thinking about the deeper issues that we're discussing in this thing. It's more like, oh my God, look at this girl.
You're not thinking about why she's in this situation in the first place because her stepdad was trying to perp on her. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, but it is kind of a cold scene when they're having lunch there, and Joel has kind of regained the power in this dynamic and has maybe like surpassed her, of which he never really has throughout their dynamic.
Yeah.
Now that he's paid off his debts, now that he's gotten through the week with his parents gone, now that he's fixed the car and everything's back to normal, and he has this future, right? Like he has a future at Princeton in New Jersey that has nothing to do with a prostitute in Chicago. Like, he has all the upper hand in that relationship. She can't really provide him anything moving forward. Like it feels like as Joel has gotten his kind of act together and has found himself and his power, he's gotten colder.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of what I said it in a different way, but towards the end, he's understanding that even from his point of view, this is purely a transactional relationship.
Right.
Now, having just rewatched this, is there anything surprising to you about how this film did become something of a cultural touchstone?
I mean, not really. One, I think it's a good movie.
Yeah,
I think it holds up. It was fun to watch. I mean, I certainly enjoyed it then. I enjoy watching it now. Obviously, it's different being older. But
sure.
no, it's just I don't think the movie is a classic in and of itself, but in terms of a piece of America at that time,
Mhm.
I mean, I feel like if you're going to make 10 movies that kind of fit the Reagan era perfectly, this would be one of them. So would Top
Sure.
Gun. Um, it's one of those I enjoyed it. I don't know. It's sort of like would I watch? Am I going to go watch the movie again? I don't know. It's one of those movies that probably in the early '90s it would show up on cable, and I'm like, oh yeah, Risky Business, it's on. But I don't know if I'd go out of my way to watch it now. Of course, I'm also in my 50s. It's not that,
Yeah.
but it's it's bigger than the movie itself. It's part of the American culture now.
Yeah. And I mean, I think it being Cruise's breakout
Yeah.
role is, as you said before, for 4 decades now, he's
And it's also I think that a comment I made earlier that very much holds up. It is, even though it was filmed in like 1982 or early 83, it is an extremely 80s movie. With the exception of some of the parents' furniture, the character of Guido the pimp, who's wearing like a brown jacket and tan slacks. This movie is all grays and blacks and blues and very sleek and modern looking. So it very much fits in with the way that decade looked.
So Risky Business took quite a few years to get going. No studios would sign on and greenlight the film because no one could really see what the film was. And they also had pretty significant problems finding their Joel and Lana. I have a really hard time saying Lana, not Lana, but
I probably said some Lanas already, but it is Lana, right? It's very very Chicago.
I could almost see somebody reading the script and going, "This is just an ordinary dumbass teen sex comedy like any other." And there used to be
but there's no jokes.
Yeah. Right, but right, and it's not necessarily fun. There's darkness in it. It's like, why would we want to do that? It just, I don't know if they're to what extent they're doing this now, but at the time there were a million teen sex comedies and they were terrible, and it was
like losing it.
Yeah, like 90 minutes of bad jokes, and plus you get like 30 seconds to a minute of gratuitous nudity. Roll credits. That was it.
Now, eventually they got the script in front of David Geffen, who was just starting the Geffen Film Company, this being their second film after Personal Best. Now, John Cusack, Nicolas Cage, Michael J. Fox, Tom Hanks, and Sean Penn all auditioned for the role of Joel Goodson. Rob Lowe said he turned this down because he thought it was, quote, weird. Timothy Hutton was apparently the first choice for the role, but he wanted to work with Sidney Lumet. Brian Backer was cast as Joel, but they replaced him with Cruise after he flew in from Tulsa, where they're shooting The Outsiders, to tape a test with DeMornay at Steve Tish's house, impressing them despite being all outsidered out. Sharon Stone auditioned for Lana. Kim Basinger didn't like the script and turned down the role. Brooke Shields turned down the role to focus on her education at Princeton. So they went through a lot of people to get to DeMornay, which I forgot to double check this, but I believe this is her first speaking film role.
If
now
it's not,
she was
it's
dating
close to it.
She was dating Harry Dean Stanton at this time,
which is just yes, Harry Dean Stanton, who was 55 and looked about 75.
Yep.
DeMornay's what, 25 in this?
She
22, I believe.
She was 22, yeah.
Yeah.
So whatever, we're all adults, but I was just like, all right, I didn't know that.
Apparently Curtis Armstrong said that, I think it was Armstrong and not Pinchot, it was one of the two, but said that things got weird on set because HDS was coming to set and Cruise and DeMornay started dating on set, and so things got awkward. So yeah, that the relationship with Harry Dean Stanton, which had started on One from the Heart,
One for the Road, or One for the Heart, yeah.
That ended.
Yeah, I had no idea.
They dated for a few years.
You can Google it and find pictures. I was just like, and nothing, whatever. Harry Dean Stanton is fantastic. But Harry Dean Stanton is one of those guys who, when he was 18, he looked like he was 30.
Yeah.
And when he was 55, yeah, he always looked
Uh-huh.
older than he was, but whatever. Yeah, I mean, that was also, she ended up dating Leonard Cohen later.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I mean, Tom Cruise is the outlier in that
right.
trifecta there.
Yep.
Now, you expressed apprehension about there being retrograde sexual dynamics at play in Risky Business, like there were in so much 80s fare. How did you feel like Paul Brickman navigated those waters?
Actually, I think it held up pretty well. I mean, look, she's a sex worker. There's a pimp. It's going to be a difficult and inferior relationship, but I didn't feel like it was a situation where she ends up, I mean, it probably in real life does not work out, but in the movie, she's given a fair amount of agency. She gets away from him for a while. It's her, she's the one who comes up with the brothel idea and is able to pull it off. So
she really gets her take from it.
Right, exactly. So there's that. I feel like the gender and sexual dynamics actually hold up pretty well. Weirdly, the one situation that seems the most dated is Guido, the Italian pimp, driving the big Cadillac. That seems something out of,
very, very
Starsky and Hutch.
Yeah.
Very strange that he's able to keep up with a Porsche for as long as he does.
Right.
Yeah, not buying that.
So, I don't know what y'all's take on it, but I was like, oh, okay, it actually, I mean, like I say, she's a sex worker, the dynamics are what they are, but in terms of like, oh my God, I can't believe they were saying these things at this time. I
think most of that was actually happening on set off camera. I don't know if you guys saw this anywhere, but apparently Tom Cruise, this Pinchot, I believe, was saying this. I can't remember where.
I know where you're going. Yes.
Yeah. He would be like, so it's good there aren't any gays here, right? Like just walking up to like the other male co-stars on set, and they'd all be kind of like, I mean, all of these dudes came from like theater. Like they're not, this isn't like he's on the set of The Outsiders or something with Matt Dillon or whoever.
Right.
Like they're all kind of like, what's up with this guy? Like, why is he doing this?
Yeah. I mean,
he also insisted on calling them all by their character names, which no one really wanted.
Right.
So,
he's doing,
I don't know.
Right. Method actor crap.
Even though he never studied method acting, like it's stuff that he picked up obviously on set, but I don't know.
Yeah. Well,
so
I mean, y'all
heard it here. You heard it here first, guys. Tom Cruise is weird.
Well, I was gonna say, I'm sure y'all have studied him more than me, but like, Cruise is just fucking weird.
Scott, your episode is gonna blow up once it gets out that one of our
Tom
hosts,
Cruise is weird.
So
yeah. I think
it's funny. This is the second straight Scientologist movie that we've recorded, because the recording we did before this was for Urban Cowboy.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, two straight.
I haven't seen that
two really strange.
Didn't you say there's a bunch of really ugly sexism in that? I haven't seen that in so long. I don't remember it at all, really.
It's rough.
Yeah,
you will not like John Travolta at the end of that.
Well, all right.
Yeah. So for the last clip, we asked you what your expectations were for your return to Risky Business.
I hope it holds up as a good movie. I kind of feel like it will, just because it's a movie where kind of everybody knows about it to an extent. I mean, I guess if you're like 20, maybe not, but I feel like especially because Tom Cruise is still a thing. People know about his movies, and that was not his first movie, but certainly one of them. I hope it holds up.
I wonder what kind of stunt work he gets into in this movie.
That's right, because he does his own stuff.
Well, we know a little bit in his tidy whities.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, I think there's a thing where he's in a car and it's on the dock and the car goes into the river. Maybe he did that scene himself.
If it's not going off of a cliff into a river, then probably not.
Yeah. But, you know, at that time, I mean, I'd have to look at his filmography and get the order right. But, you know, he was famous by then, but I don't think he was famous as a lead.
Yeah.
He was in...
All the right
like I
moves,
said, I don't know
think,
which
is
came
before
first.
this.
He was in Taps.
Uh-huh. But that was an ensemble piece.
Right. I feel like he wasn't in... no. He wouldn't have been in Rumblefish or the Outsiders. I think I'm mixing that up with
he was in the Outsiders.
He's in one of them.
sure.
He was okay. He was in the Outsiders.
He's
but
a
once again-
greaser.
okay, but that's another one where he's one of any number of people in it. It's not a star vehicle for him.
Right.
This is the one that set him on his path.
So we already obviously talked about sort of Tom Cruise leading up to this, but you hoped that this would hold up and thought it probably would. Was its continued remembrance the harbinger of quality you thought it'd be?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a good movie. Like I say, I don't think it's a great movie. It's not
Sure.
like anything super amazing, but it's genuinely a good movie. It's fun. I think one interesting thing about it, and this is something where I've read some people who are coming across it for the first time, is that the pacing of this movie is surprisingly leisurely. It takes a long time to build up to that first sex scene, and there are some various sets.
We get dream nudity in the first 3 minutes, though, so that
Yeah.
keeps all of the red-blooded
right.
a
Helps keep your
male
attention.
audience engaged to De Mornay entering.
Yeah, I feel like if this movie were made now, the pacing would be a lot quicker.
Yes. She'd have to
but-
be in by minute 12.
Yeah, like I say, it was 27 minutes before she shows up at all, which I really didn't remember at all. But yeah, it's a good movie. I think it's iconic status in terms of the culture it represents and in terms of Tom Cruise's breakthrough. Makes the movie a little bit bigger than it really is, but in terms of just what you're watching on the screen, yeah, it's good.
So let's move on to picking up the scraps. Is there anything that we haven't mentioned yet that anybody wants to talk about?
I mean, there's a few things, yeah. Did you guys kind of read into a little bit of how Joel needs to kind of obscure his face in order to kind of make some changes in his life? Like, he has this
pulling down the fencing mask when he's on the phone with booking Lana.
It was like a catcher's mask or
Yeah, I thought it
something,
was a
right?
catcher's.
I couldn't. It didn't look like it looked like it was almost a catcher's mask, but then wasn't. So I don't know what the hell it was.
Well, it could be like for fucking softball or something.
It certainly wasn't one that Don Slott would have worn.
It actually looked like the kind of mask that it's more typically worn in. I wonder if it's like a lacrosse mask or something.
It could be that. That would actually make way more sense.
Yeah, that actually is probably the reality.
Because it's not. It wouldn't. That
Right.
mask wouldn't have eaten a baseball. You know.
Yeah.
But the way that he has to kind of like move it down to make these things, and again later on when he assumes this kind of house madam role and is his most Princeton-esque, he wears those sunglasses throughout the
Yeah,
entire
he has to put on
thing.
his mask.
He has to put on his mask in order to kind of achieve these things. You know, I think that, you know, this isn't necessarily like a major gripe that I have, but it would be nice to kind of see the bordello begin in a kind of slower stage. Like, because it goes from 0 to 60 so quick, right? It's over one night. We get this huge rocketed spike in popularity, but we don't ever get any kind of growing pains to, like, you know, sitting around with like one prostitute and or one guy. I mean, that would have been
Well, that
really
was
fun-
probably cut, and it was probably with Megan Mullally.
yeah.
Yeah,
but
she's in the movie for about a second and a half.
Yeah, but she had lines. She did
Oh, really?
This was supposed to be her first like film film role, I believe. Yeah, because this is her debut. It's hers and Bronson Pinchot's, but yeah,
It would have been a really
bites were
kind
on
of
the cutting room floor.
It would have been a funny scene to have like one guy there, the tick of a grandfather clock, and like Lana has gotten 20 girls, right? Something like that. And then like, Joel, you got to go recruit. Like he does get the quote unquote like fat guy who is like average in 2025. But
Are we talking
like,
Bill Rutherford?
I don't think so.
I'm joking. The Princeton guy.
No.
Because he stays there all night.
It's another student.
It's the guy like eating the sandwich or
No,
something.
I was joking.
And he's
yeah.
complaining. He's complaining about how much he spent on movie and stuff like that.
Right.
Doesn't
He's complaining.
get
But
anything
like
out of it.
the guys that he recruits, by and large, look like the popular guys. They look athletic. They have good hair. They're, coming out of that bank counting their money. It was almost like a Scarface montage where like they're making withdrawals. It's not like Joel like went around to like D&D clubs and the chess club. And it seems that in 1983, by and large, most of these guys should be getting laid.
Yeah.
You never
They're
really
making withdrawals so they can make deposits.
But we never get that perspective of like the high school women and the girls, and like wondering why nobody is available for a date this weekend. I would have liked to have kind of
They're probably
seen...
relieved.
Yeah.
Yeah. The logistics of doing this are daunting to say the least, and they really just kind of gloss that over.
Yeah.
The only thing that comes up is that the room where they're doing the interview, it's like they need it for a bed, and that everything proceeds very smoothly. Where
he has to do this without like press. He doesn't have the time to put something in those want ads, right?
Yeah.
There's no
Shoe
Craigslist.
leather.
Yeah, what was the strange, I don't know if it's still there, like the
Back page.
Yeah, but there was something on Craigslist.
Misconnections.
No.
No.
It
Oh
was-
no. Okay, never mind. Shit, what was that called?
This is where Josh has to pretend to remember it.
No, it was a takeoff of. I mean, it was Backpage, but on Craigslist.
Yes.
Yeah, I can't remember what the hell the name was.
Yeah, sure, Josh. So we're going to pretend that Josh can't remember this. But it does seem like Joel does an improbable feat of arranging this in an afternoon to get everybody over there. So it would have been nice, I think, just to kind of see a little bit more of the inner workings of them building the brothel. And maybe it culminates with like the Princeton interview on the last night that he's there. How did you guys feel about the train thing this time?
It was weird that they brought in a guy straight from a Hooverville to leer at them as they were getting warmed up.
Do we know anything about that train?
I've
Because
been on the L, but that's as far as I can.
It doesn't seem like an L, right? They had like the kind of bus-like doors. It felt more like a tram car or something like that. I know that we do have that crane shot kind of going up over it, but I wish that they would have made Lana play with the train set. And maybe we get a little bit of some poetry there. Again, this is, rewriting history, but it's weird that we first see Joel at that train set.
Yeah, if she loves trains, like we're meant to believe she loves trains, then she should be playing with a train set.
Yeah,
You're right.
I mean, it's one thing we do here, Scott, is we make the movie better.
Yeah, there's stuff like, going back, that the logistics of running this, where, like you said, they just kind of magically pull it off. That's sort of the same scene where I was talking about when he's going out and recruiting, and out of the clear blue sky, he has this totally outsized confidence that isn't fake it kind of confidence. He's really out there. And
is he wearing sunglasses the whole time though? Is he wearing the Wayfarers?
Sunglasses, right?
Okay.
Sunglasses and the blazer, and
then he's wearing his mask so he can be someone else.
Yeah, and guess good for him for pulling it off, but it's kind of a weird,
Yeah.
you know,
With what
that,
we've seen of Joel up to that point, it's
that
a
that
leap.
it feels like a I mean, there is the issue with the Princeton interview, but that feels like another situation where things could have gone catastrophically wrong again, and yet it's an otherworldly success with no issues. And I guess the word of it doesn't get out. You would think that, you know,
Yeah. Well, I mean,
it'd be the talk of school.
the Karen-esque neighbors in that neighborhood,
Right.
like maybe cops show up and then he's got to give, you know, free blowies or something like that.
Yeah, of course. I mean, you know,
But we're talking about Joel having to give them, right?
the neighbors are going to
He might
tell
want to.
his parents that
But
that there
the
were 50
train,
cars parked in the street, and
the
they were hauling in
famous-
mattresses, and
right? And
Those are the kind of people who get pissed if you just park in front of their house, period.
yeah.
So-
And 40 high school, you know, it's so weird to see like that high school freshman sitting there on the couch with the two prostitutes. Like, I know that that's something that they did like throughout the 80s and 90s, but it's just so fucking gross now.
Yeah, it's weird.
But give me, you know, that's that train scene kind of comes at the culmination of their successful night, right? Like, they've pulled off.
I would say that there's a second culmination of a successful night there.
Yeah. But have Lana down there running the trains. Joel approaches her and she says something of like, I always liked trains. It just made me feel like I was escaping from anything and everything. It didn't matter where I was going as long as I was getting away. Like, that's just, you know, that's rough. But then he can have the idea to take her on a train. Like,
yeah. Jesus
Christ, it's such a like nice step and a nice evolution to also show Joel kind of taking control here, like putting Hobo Pete off the train and onto a bench so he could get laid. It is that scene is shot strangely too, right? Like,
yes.
We go back
another dreamlike.
Yeah, I did notice 2 DPs credited on this movie, which, you know, when we talk kind of about the look of this movie, there is 90% of it that feels very much like most high school movies of this time, most, you know, soft dramas of this time. And then
I think it oddly looks more like the soft drama than the high school movie of the time, but yeah.
But Josh, you pointed out something early on too of like the view of Chicago from the L.
Yeah, that's strange. The B-roll over like from the L of just like going through Chicago. There's a lot of odd flourishes that aren't necessarily in the language of what the rest of this film is.
It almost, I mean, like, not to steal from a movie we already mentioned here that has some connection through Tangerine Dream, but it does feel a little like Thief. It does feel a little like they've even adjusting the shutter speed or something like that. Like, there's a weird disconnect with the sex scenes in this movie, right? Like, they're not at normal speed.
Yeah.
And it is certainly highlighted and more pronounced throughout the movie. Again, I probably wouldn't draw attention to having 2 cinematographers credited in this movie if I didn't notice so many of these little, you know, flare-ups.
Yeah, not necessarily incongruity, but like, yeah, it does feel like those scenes were shot by a different person.
Yeah.
There were a couple lines I'd like to just give a shout out to. I really dug the who's the U-boat commander line.
Yeah.
That was really fun. Make some money, be a little enterpriser, which was delightful. When she called him a little enterpriser and he had to correct and say it was future enterpriser.
Yes.
I got one. When they were at the Drake Hotel scouting for Lana, Curtis Armstrong says, "Where else are we going to get a hot chocolate for $4?" And I immediately was like, "Oh, sweet Curtis."
Yeah.
If only
Like,
you knew.
I live in New York City. Like,
well, there was the thing.
But adjust that for inflation. Holy shit, that's an expensive hot chocolate.
Well, there was
like
the thing
a
earlier.
small here in New York.
there was the thing earlier in the movie where they're talking about, what a Harvard MBA makes in his first year, $40,000, and
Yeah,
everybody's like,
Yeah.
"Ooh."
dermatologist 60,
Yes, dermatologist 60 for being a pimple popper.
a pimple popper.
Um, yeah, that part was funny. No,
Am I
but
the am I the
as
only one who was not cool with like a buddy showing up with a girl to get laid?
I thought that was fucked up.
yeah,
Like, what's the bro code on that? Because, and also Joel gives him his bed, and
Yeah,
and
even
they're
more
loud,
fucked up.
and they're loud.
Yep.
He ends up having to leave the house. Like, you gotta give a call, bro.
yeah, you can't just show up. I mean, I talk about like the friend whose parents basically lived in another state. I mean, familiar with that situation, but you don't just show up while your
Yeah.
friend's there and go, "Hey, you know, anybody using your parents' bedroom?" It's like, well, no, of course not.
Did everyone catch who the? I'm sure you didn't, but who the babysitter was in the scene where the police roll up? It's a dream sequence where
No.
the police surround the house and he's about to have sex with the
Right.
babysitter.
That's the only time we see her, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's hard to get
It's
a
Anne Lockhart. She is June Lockhart's daughter,
Okay.
the mom from Leave It to Beaver.
Yeah. Did she
No,
what is
that's
she
it.
doing in this?
have any other credits, or is that
Not many.
okay?
Yeah.
Well, I guess if you're only gonna have one or
The
two,
the
have
last name stuck out to me, so I had
All
to.
right.
Yeah.
But
I had
one
to
more
look
thing
up.
about the.
She was Lieutenant Sheba in Battlestar Galactica,
Oh, okay.
the old.
The 70s version, I assume. Okay.
Yeah.
Another thing about the sex on the train is that, all right, Cruz's character he's no longer a virgin, hasn't, but still, and he, other than the first night, there's more encounters with Lana, but hasn't had sex that many times, and
Right.
boy, that's a jump. It's
Yeah.
like your fifth or sixth time to have sex, and it's on a train. That's
Well, I mean, he's into trains. We know this.
yeah, but that's again a confidence level that he doesn't seem to be showing elsewhere in the movie. Although, I guess if you're horny enough and Rebecca De
You're
Mornay's
gonna go
character
wherever Rebecca
is
De
like,
Mornay
yeah,
wants you to.
we're gonna have sex, but guess what? It's gonna be on a train. It'd be like, okay.
I mean, I don't have any more scraps. Do you guys?
No, pretty much covered all my stuff.
I kind of wish there's that to kind of tie in to his dad where he says, sometimes Joel, like I've always been telling you, you got to say what the heck and take some chances. Like we could have used that at the beginning, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that would have made sense.
Like when we have that in Back to the Future with, if you put your mind to it, you can accomplish anything. And then Marty gets to tell his dad that, in 1955. Like, great. But like, let's have some basic tenets of screenwriting here.
Yeah.
And I think like that was. Yeah,
Sorry,
I mean,
I have two more small things.
Okay, I would have liked Jackie to come by like one more time.
Yeah.
It would have been kind of fun. Maybe that's like who Bill Rutherford is walking out with at the end.
Yeah.
Like the next day.
That would be great. So Edward Neumeier was a scriptwriter at Warner's and was so convinced that this would be a hit that he wrote an 18-page report on why he thought the studio should make it. After this was a success for Geffen, Neumeier was promoted to an executive position and began co-writing RoboCop shortly thereafter.
Ah.
And then the last thing I've got from this, so how much do you guys think this cost to make?
Oh gosh, at the time, I don't know. It was probably gonna be like 8 million, but 6,
Yeah,
8 million bucks.
I'd say he's right on the money. I'd say 6 to 8.
Yeah, it's 6.2.
Oh, hey,
how much
how
do we
about
think
that?
it made?
It was popular. I don't think it was. Well, no, wait. I take that back. I kind of know this because in picking the movies, I was going through like top 100 box office hits. So I think it was
Sure.
over 100 million.
I don't
I'm
think it
sure
made
adjusted
that.
for inflation, yes.
I don't think
Okay,
it
I'm
made
sorry.
that.
Well, maybe it wasn't that much, but
I'll-
it did well. It
I'll
was
say
one-
Yes.
I'll say like 25.
63.5 domestically.
That's so much.
So 10
Yeah.
times its budget. It was the 10th highest box office release of 1983. It seems like it was reviewed fairly positively, but it's hard to tell with that stuff because so much of it's newer reviews that are.
Yeah, I mean, Roger
not-
Ebert, I think, gave it 4 stars.
He
At
did.
least
He did.
3. Yeah.
Yeah, he gave it 4. I remember him giving it 4. But yeah, it has a 93 on Rotten Tomatoes and a 75 on Metacritic. Last year, it also got a 4K Criterion Collection release, so there's that. Now, major gripes. Starting with our guest, Scott, what was your biggest gripe with the film this go around?
Oh. It's not like a huge gripe, but I think I already discussed it. I'd have to go back to that weird tonal shift where he's so crazily confident, and it just doesn't really fit with how he acts through the entire rest of the movie. And like I say, I know to Sean's point where it's like he's got the glasses on, he's kind of wearing a different kind of uniform that allows him to be a different character. But even then, it doesn't feel like that's the part of the movie where it's like all of a sudden you're looking at Tom Cruise, the big star, and it doesn't really fit with how the rest of the movie plays for me. And it's kind of jarring because, like I say, as soon as that's over and he's doing the interview, he's back to, well, gee, I hope I can pull this off kind of thing. So I think that would be it for me.
Sean?
I think that's completely warranted as a major gripe. I'm right along in lockstep with you on that. I think not only character-wise, Tom Cruise kind of oscillates a little too wildly throughout this movie, but the film's style is very strange. It is not a clear tone that we have in this movie. The dream
if you
stuff,
shot that love scene, what are you supposed to make of how would you know what movie you're in,
Yeah. The dream stuff, kind of starting your movie with that dream, right? And really putting the audience in this world of what should we believe? He has the law that story even after that dream about maybe having sex with the babysitter, and they're all giving him a hard time about that. Is he a pathological liar? And then for no reason, we have this very strange, long extended drive to the airport and up the escalator with mom and dad, all in first person point of view, where mom and dad are looking at the camera. And
do you think that's just because they didn't have Tom Cruise that day?
That's almost what it looks like to me.
He is at the airport, but yeah, he may have had to come in at the very end there and wave as they're going up the escalator.
I bet it was a turnaround issue, honestly.
Yeah.
And they were just we gotta try to make do.
They're right. There's nothing else in the movie remotely like that.
Yeah.
You don't necessarily have to then a fucking script adjustment, have a car come pick them up.
I know.
Whatever.
The issue is they had the location already. They were like, well, we got. I'm sure that's what it was, but
right. You could have worked around that in a way.
More
and then
elegantly.
on top of all this, you add that voiceover, which this movie doesn't really need.
Yeah.
And when you add it in such a, it's not Ray Liotta through Goodfellas,
right,
steering us in and out of the pitfalls and the moral quandaries that he's in, giving us
it's
context.
not Walter Neff in Double Indemnity either. It's superfluous. You don't need it, and it's only there 3 times. So why? And when it does show up, you're kind of wondering what movie are they doing now?
Yeah. Because like I say, they do a good job in the movie of establishing his character and what kind of person he is.
Mm-hmm.
And the voiceover does kind of come across as like a tack on. Maybe they
That was my original idea. It was just some producer who didn't get it because they were confused about this movie.
Yeah.
Like, I don't really know.
They tacked it on in post.
Yeah, they tacked it on in post. They were just like, well, just have, like we have a year prior to this, just have Harrison Ford sit in the fucking
Blade Runner
studio. Yeah, and just walk us through this confusing thing.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the major gripe. It is a big one for me because there's a lot of elements here that work, but there's a lot of kind of just skeleton aspects of this script that just could have been a lot better.
Right. Mine is, maybe I missed something while I was taking a note or something, but it felt like Jackie was supposed to be a BDSM sex worker, and I don't feel like the Jackie that shows up at the door is dressed like a BDSM sex worker at all.
No, not at all.
No. Yeah, that's what I mean. It's like if something doesn't fit, either Miles was trying to con him, or the character who placed that ad, the ad was placed in the wrong.
But Jackie is so like forgiving of this, and understanding of this kid. I don't think it can be Jackie. So, and I just think that that's like something a little more devious than we see Miles do otherwise.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. My other major gripe. The amount of time that this movie believes that it takes to move all of the belongings out of a house and move all of the belongings back into a house and reset it, that is fantasy. That is not rooted in reality. That would take so much time, and you would need a fucking army to do it both ways.
And it would never work. Something would be out of place. Many things would be out of place. You think they stole his mom's clothing.
Yes.
And you think he's going to put it, and she probably has it in the closet in a particular order.
Absolutely.
You think he's going to put it back in the right place? God, no.
You need every
Then she's going to think that he was wearing her clothes the whole time.
Yeah. You need every guy who got laid the previous night to like show up and rally for Joel.
Yeah.
Which is so weird when Curtis Armstrong is not there, right? Like Miles does not show at his most desperate moment.
Yeah.
I think Miles is manipulative and untrustworthy, and isn't really there for Joel when he's needed. But
I just have a fond place in my heart with Curtis Armstrong from Moonlighting, that I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt in this.
Yeah, but also it's a movie. I mean, stuff like this goes on in all movies. The other thing is, like, particularly if you're watching this between the ages of 16 and 18, you don't give a shit about any of that stuff. You're just like, hey, wow, this is cool, and the woman is amazing, and it's funny, and
it's funny when the car goes into the lake.
Right. So what?
Yeah. We're just separating pepper from poppy seeds here, Scott.
Yeah.
So.
Dad would think that he smells like a lake, right?
Yeah.
Like, he gets in the car, it looks otherwise pristine, but there's no way you get the smell out. And he's got to think that it's him then, right?
There was one time when I was a kid, my dad was driving home from work, got violently ill in the car, threw up in his car. That smell never went away. Years. It was always there. We couldn't.
Was it in the summer?
I don't remember.
Okay. Because if it was a Texas summer, that would have baked into the car.
Yeah, and I mean, at some point it faded enough to where, like, if somebody else was in the car, they would notice it, but I would still get in the car and be going, oh yeah, that's right, my dad threw up in the car.
It's forever unclean.
Yeah. So, right.
So how would we fix this movie for today? Or maybe you don't think there are any fixes that it's perfect. Starting with our guest, Scott, if you've got a fix.
I don't know about major fixes. I mean, I do think it holds up. I was worried that the movie was going to come across as maybe more sexist or demeaning to women. I actually think it comes across pretty well. I mean, other than the characters are in the situation that they're in, there's nothing you can do about that.
Especially for a 1983 movie.
Right. But I think they handled that part pretty well. I mean, honestly, the thing that plays the worst is some mild Italian-American discrimination with Guido the pimp driving the big Cadillac. That's very much a cliche of the time. But if that's the worst thing in the movie, it's like, hell, not that big a deal.
Right. Sean?
For me, yeah. I mean, I think I want more of, the car goes into the lake at the hour mark on this movie. We have another 40 minutes. I think Joel has to come around quicker to the prostitution racket.
Yeah.
And I
Turning
think
his parents' house into a cat house, yeah.
Yeah, and I think we really need to kind of stay there with the ups and downs. We need to, maybe Jackie comes in as security at some point. Maybe the word spreads and it's every high school in the Chicago area. And he realizes, like, oh my God, we're
going to run out of rubbers.
We're going to run out of rooms to conduct college entrance interviews for sure. So I would have
They just keep bringing in cots, BT dubs.
Yeah.
There are cots on cots on cots.
Realistically, there's no way in the world they're pulling this off.
No.
There's a million ways where it would go wrong.
And again,
I want to be fair to the sex workers, and I think that they're maybe intrepid enough that they could make it happen. I don't think there's anyone on Joel's side that could.
No. A bunch of 17-year-old boys?
Yeah.
Yeah, and we have that one thing where it's like, okay, girls aren't worth dating if they're not putting out, right? Which feels a little like problematic.
Yeah.
But like if we had spent more time with him adopting this idea, with embodying, him being a John, right? And working the neighborhood and working the schools on kids who cannot get laid, let alone ones who don't deem it worthy.
Sure.
Of spending $60 or whatever it was, like $40. Then I think it adds some more realism to that, to kind of a fantastical movie.
Right.
It grounds it in ways, and then of course I would have made a lot of these things. I would have established earlier. I would have established like Lana's love for trains and a little, kind of waxing poetic about what trains mean for her earlier on. I would have put Dad's, like I've always been telling you, fucking Christ, Dad. No, you haven't. I heard it once at the end of the movie. If your dad says you've always been telling you, have him say it on the phone call when they check in from the hotel in some respect.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you got that Princeton interview coming up. Feel free to really let your personality shine. Take some chances. Like I've always been telling you, Joel. Sometimes you got to say what the heck. Whatever it is. Like little script doctory things kind of throughout this thing.
Sure.
Yeah, but along those lines, if they had kept the ending that they'd originally wanted, that doesn't correct all the problems you're talking about, but it does go along.
Color them a little differently.
It colors it a little differently, where it kind of establishes the whole movie as like being, yeah, we pulled all this stuff off, but this isn't really real life, and things are different, to be honest.
Yeah, and also we went through this thing. We went through this really dramatic week, and it changed us from where it certainly changed Joel, But there are repercussions to that, and there was fallout, and there were casualties to it, and maybe Lana is a casualty in that, in a weird way, even if she did have something to do with the, all of his stuff being taken. So again, I didn't know about this alternate ending. I kind of instinctively like it.
It's on YouTube. You can find it.
Yeah. Like it better.
Their screen test is actually on YouTube too. You can watch the whole recorded screen test with them in the producer's living room. And I think that's super fascinating too. But
this was John Avnet, right? Producer on this?
Avnet was one of the two producers. There's Avnet and Steve Tisch. Yeah.
Avnet, a name that Josh and I will get to later on in this podcast, I believe. Not this episode. But do you know what he directed?
Did he direct Neverending Story?
No. Well, I don't know how much I want to give away here, but it has something to do with a saran wrap
No clue.
Okay, we can cut this if need be. He directed
Okay.
Fried Green Tomatoes.
Oh, well, that will have probably dropped before this. So.
Yeah, I just didn't. I wanted to make sure, but yeah, Abnet is Fried Green Tomatoes guy.
Are y'all doing that?
Hell
we
yeah.
we recorded it a while ago. Their podcast isn't dropping episodes right now, so I have to see if they want me to hold off on dropping it until.
We recorded it with a podcast host.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I
one
feel
of,
like
one of
no,
the
you had
hosts from SVU Pod.
you had St. Elmo's Fire and what, like Phase 4? Isn't Phase 4 the Ant movie?
Yes.
Yeah, I saw that on TV.
It's so good. I bought it. I own Phase 4 now. I have like the 4K.
I saw that
Blu-ray
once
now.
as a kid because they showed it on TV, and I don't think I've seen it since. But I remember it.
You know who directed it, right?
I'll.
Saul Bass.
Well, okay. That's.
It is. It's a lot trippier, and it's a bolder vision than you might be thinking it is.
Okay.
I welcome our ant overlords. They can come whenever they want.
Mm.
They're late.
Oh, I don't think I gave a fix for this yet, have I? I think, okay, so there are two big, huge things that you cannot have the car go in the lake. You're never going to get the lake out of the car. So that has to be fixed. I think you also need to tweak Joel's character some to make things track a little better. So, whatever.
Yeah, I agree.
Like if that car goes in the lake, Josh, you have to buy a new Porsche.
Yeah. You need to come up with 90K or whatever.
Yeah, but then
Then
you've got the Ferris Bueller problem. What do you do about the mileage?
He's not going to complain about getting a new car, I don't think.
He might want to know why.
Yeah,
he's
sure.
getting a new car.
Then you tell your
Uh-huh.
dad the car was stolen. You know, but
Yeah. that's
But I
probably
fixed
more
it.
realistic.
I fixed the problem.
Yeah, just like we had sex workers in your bed, and
We also, was the equalizer. I bet the equalizer was messed with. We never get a follow-up on the equalizer being different levels when his dad gets home again.
he doesn't have time
yeah,
because Guido probably fucking messed with that.
yeah.
Okay, so saving graces. What was your favorite moment or element of the film? Starting again with Scott, our guest.
Oh man, my favorite moment.
Or it can be like an aspect of the film. It doesn't need to
it
be
can-
like a scene.
Yeah, let me think.
We can come back if you want to think about it too.
No, there's something
Okay.
early in the movie when they're trying to establish how awkward his character is. There's the opening dream sequence, where even in his dream he can't have sex, and he ends up not only can he not have sex with a girl, he ends up botching his SAT and doesn't get into college. But I can't remember if it's the exact next scene, but there's a scene where he's with his male friends and he's over at this girl who I guess it's her last name's Kessler.
I think it's the mom. I think it's the neighborhood mom.
Wait, he's with a mom?
I think that they're talking about Mrs. Kessler.
Oh, okay.
So I
But
think
he-
that
but he's
this
with
is
a-
oh, you couldn't close the deal with this mom who wants to bone you or whatever. I think that's what's going on, but I'm
Really?
not
I didn't-
100%.
I missed that. I didn't get that at all. I just assumed it was another girl. Well, anyway, I'm sorry. For my part,
Again, I could be wrong.
I'm gonna assume it was another girl just because that's what I had in my head. But I don't know. I'd have to go back. If I missed that, that's a big miss on my part.
I was taking a super long note about the dream, and so it's possible I jumbled shit up. So,
Okay. Well, anyway, my assumption is like he's with the girl. She's down, and even though he's telling the story, like, all right, here's the big buildup, and then all of a sudden he goes silent, and like one of his jerkier friends is like, oh, I just bet you went home and beat off.
yeah.
And then Miles is like, wait, you had your bike with you, right? And he's like, yeah. He's like, I bet you rode home on your bike and beat off. And he was like, that's actually that's a pretty funny line. It's one of the
Yep.
funniest lines in the movie. But also it's just it's funny to me that Joel is volunteering the story with this big buildup, and yet the payoff is him being humiliated because he was with a girl who definitely wanted to have sex with him, and yet he could
And
not
he
go
couldn't
through
close
with
the
it. but just sort of but his, he's getting mocked for it. It's one of those things where at that age, social interactions can be so cruel. It's like he's with his best friends and they're still mocking him mercilessly for not being able to. There's no sympathy at all, even though for most of them they probably would have done the same thing. They're just mocking him for it.
Right.
So I think that does a good job of establishing where his character's coming from when he finally goes through with it.
Yeah. Sean?
Saving Grace? Honestly, this movie could be much, much worse. This movie could be nearly unwatchable. But Rebecca De Mornay's in it.
Yeah.
And there is no discounting how beautiful Rebecca De Mornay is in this movie.
Yeah.
Like, this is and neither discounting her impact on this movie. This movie probably does well with, Sharon Stone or whoever else read for this, as Josh mentioned earlier.
Kim Basinger.
But in each and every scene, Rebecca De Mornay walks in and stops hearts. It is ridiculous how good she looks in this movie. The first time we see her in this lavender dress and heels, and then within, I don't know, maybe 2 minutes of screen time, we have a brief flash of full frontal.
Yeah.
And then various sex scenes around a house.
Mm-hmm.
The next day in the pink top and jeans. I mean, you have to, we have to give a special shout out to the costume design on this movie, specifically for Rebecca De Mornay.
That was her outfit, I'm pretty sure, because that's the outfit she is wearing in the screen test that they shot at the producer's house.
Well, God bless them for
hers.
keeping that in there.
There's nothing in this movie that's quite as iconic on the level as Phoebe Cates and Fast Times.
Sure.
But it's pretty close. And like I say,
Phoebe Cates, there's no point in Fast Times at Ridgemont High that Phoebe Cates gives any character a look the way that
is true.
Rebecca De Mornay gives Joel when they are testing out mattresses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The cinematographers in this movie, plural, knew how to light her. She is a femme fatale through most of this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And even comedy.
Yeah. The camera just lingers on her at these moments, and it's establishing she knows more than anybody else in the film, but also she's just
she looks amazing in a Princeton sweatshirt.
Yeah, the criticisms we're talking about this when I'm watching it at a younger age, it's like I'd be telling.
Oh, forget about it. This is one of the biggest barometers.
How dare you criticize this movie?
This is one of the a very clear litmus test for an adolescent's sexuality.
Yeah.
We know at the end of this movie, if you're in that age, if you are drawn to Rebecca De Mornay, homosexuality is probably not your thing. The look that we end this movie in, right? This.
I mean, I think she's appealing to someone pretty far towards the other end of the Kinsey scale too.
Yeah, very much.
Yeah.
And even kind of nodding to that kind of femme fatale character, she has a fedora in the bordello party scene, right? She has this sport coat with maybe a mini skirt. I mean, the way that coat is cut, it is pretty long, so it could just
It's like the Princeton sweatshirt that has never looked better on anyone in the history of mankind.
And to end that movie with this kind of braless dress with the little black bow tie kind of or ribbon around her neck. I mean, I know Rebecca De Mornay's career didn't take off the way that Tom Cruise's did, but the allure and magnetism of Rebecca De Mornay in this movie is equal or greater than any kind of sex appeal that we have in Tom Cruise and his tighty whities.
Yeah.
It is ridiculous how good this actress looks in this movie.
Yep.
And again, this is not a bad movie, but it could have been much worse and still made, what, 60 million or something? If you had her when you did.
Yeah, kind of a perfect storm casting-wise for both of them.
I mean, it's only after watching this, guys, that I finally see what Harry Dean Stanton saw in her.
My favorite element is the Tangerine Dream score. I think it's fucking fantastic.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really great. I mean, they've been doing such good work, both in film scores and out for so long.
Yeah.
I mean, the score. I mean, the soundtrack of this movie. There's some huge hits.
Oh
and
yeah,
some
In the Air
huge
Tonight,
bangers.
Hungry Heart.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
In the Air Tonight makes no sense, like when it shows up in this movie.
but it sounds good, so I don't really care.
It
Yeah,
sounds good.
and-
Yeah.
And it's before they're not even having sex yet. They're waiting.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
wanting to
yeah.
get off the
I mean, I
train.
guess it's building to the
Right.
Tangerine Dream taking over.
Yeah.
But Tangerine Dream, as I said earlier, is a character in this movie. It lends like credence and weight to the dream stuff and the fantasy elements of this movie. It's doing a lot of work. Whatever they were paid for this movie, they weren't paid enough. But yeah, I mean, it's pretty great. I'm glad that it does not even feel dated,
No.
no.
for a 40-year-old movie.
So, Scott, you were looking forward to revisiting Risky Business, but had some trepidation that kids doing stupid shit might undermine your enjoyment of Risky Business as a grown man. Did it weather the storm?
Yeah. I think so. We all have our complaints about it.
Sure.
You see things through a different lens as you get older. But yeah, I think it holds up. It doesn't hold up as good as The Jazz Singer, but you could have picked that. I'm a little disappointed.
Yeah, sorry, we should have.
Was Rebecca De Mornay in that?
No, I think it was Lucy.
Then I'm glad that we picked this.
Yeah. No, the other one, it came down to this or Nightmare on Elm Street. I think Risky Business. That was the better pick. I think there's more to talk about with this movie.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, it would have been like an hour if we did.
Yeah.
if
No,
we did,
I think it
Nightmare on
holds
Elm
up. Like I say,
Yeah.
There's not, we all have our gripes about it, but I think overall it's a good movie. I mean, it is very much of its time, but you don't watch it now and it doesn't come across as like clunky or anything like that.
Right.
It still works.
Yeah. The things that are 1983 about it work.
Yeah.
And are sort of timeless.
Right. And just the part about adolescents getting themselves into terrible situations and trying to figure out their way out of it, that's universal.
Uh-huh. So before we say goodbye to listeners at home, where can they find you, Scott?
Easiest way to find me is just get on the web and type in scottlucas.com. Like I say, I don't hardly ever write anything about movies except once a year I throw on a list of what maybe I saw in Criterion or something like that.
Mhm.
I write about baseball. If you have any interest at all in the Texas Rangers, I think you will like what I have to write.
Yep.
I do I do donations every year, but basically nobody has to pay anything. It's free. It just shows up in your inbox.
I'm a subscriber. I've been a subscriber for, Jesus, at least a decade now.
Yeah, and I haven't booked it yet because there was weird work and other stuff going on, but hopefully in about 10, this is coming up sooner than I thought. Hopefully in 10 days I'll be out in Arizona.
Nice. For listeners, it's beginning of March when we're recording this. So Scott will be in Arizona for spring
I'll
training.
be out there for the tail end of spring training.
Yeah. He'll be on the back lots.
Yes.
The backfields. So, Scott, thank you for subjecting your fond memories of a movie featuring teens frequenting sex workers to the scrutiny of the Unkind Rewind.
Yeah, no, this was a blast. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
Yeah, super fun. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks, Scott. I now know I'm straight.
Well, I'm sorry.
Took-
I'm sorry it took you this long, but
a late
congratulations
bloomer,
on
man.
your
Yeah,
discovery.
I finally got there.
Thanks, Scott.
Thanks.
That was another installment of the Unkind Rewind, mining our childhood for content, one film from a guest's past at a time. Unkind Rewind is a Munchcasts production and can be listened to wherever you download your podcasts and watched on the Unkind Rewind YouTube channel. Music for this and every other episode of Unkind Rewind was composed by Divorcio Suave. Rate, review, like, and subscribe to Unkind Rewind on Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Spotify, and Good Pods. Links to all of our social media accounts are in our show notes, but you'll find us as @UnkindRewindPod on Letterboxd and nearly every social media platform, all of which can be found at our website, unkindrewind.com. If you have a question, concern, complaint, or feedback, you can email the podcast at unkindrewindpod@gmail.com or call into our call-in line, area code 507-479-6440, and leave a message that can be played on air. Fans should join the Munchcast Discord to discuss this or any other episode of the Unkind Rewind with like-minded people. This dialogue may just make it into a future episode of the pod. The Unkind Rewind Patreon will be coming soon, so start squirreling that pocket change away. Thank you for listening to the Unkind Rewind.